Why, hello there YouTube and welcome to a brand new episode of Horror Favourite of the Decade. I'm Random Ross and today, well, it's the first Friday of the month, it's June, and we're in the 1970s. Yes, the groovy disco decade. So, yeah, basically it's a favourite of the decade and I can only review one horror from that decade. Now, this was not an easy one, I mean, there's so many great horrors from the 60s, 70s and 80s, which I feel are like horror's golden years. I mean, I could have gone with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or, The Wicker Man, or Black Christmas, or Halloween, or Alien, or The Exorcist. But I managed to narrow it down to one, and I thought, it's summertime now, so why not review a summer blockbuster? And I decided that my favourite of this decade that I'm reviewing in this one is Jaws. Yes, probably, well, I definitely would consider it horror because it does have its scary moments. I mean, this movie, scared a whole generation back in the day and had its horrifying moments, and basically, it changed the way films were marketed after that. It changed the way we look at the sea and sharks. And like I say, it made a lot of money and started what is now known as the summer blockbuster. So, yeah, I'm going with Jaws. So, directed by Steven Spielberg, based on the book by the same name by Peter Benchley. This stars Roy Scheider, Richard Dreyfuss, Robert Shaw, Lorraine Gary and Murray Hamilton. So this is set on a small fictional island town called Amity Bay, where it's summertime and it's their busiest time of the year because they're a summer town and tourism is blooming until a great white shark is on the scene attacking beaches and basically making everyone stay out of the water. And of course there's the mayor who's blinded by this whole reality because he's all about the money, money, and really doesn't care about people's safety in the town. And eventually they hire a fisherman named Quint and Sheriff Chief Brody and a marine biologist named Hooper all go out to sea to tackle this beast, and it becomes a big showdown between the three and the shark. So that's pretty much the story. So what did I like about this? Well, I like that this film has remained untouched for over 40 years now. This film's nearly 50 years old. It's 2022 now, so we're getting there. And I like that this film hasn't even been touched or dealt with or dabbled. It doesn't need a digital makeover. It doesn't need any remastering or anything. Maybe a HD touch, but other than that, I like that it's remained natural and practical. And yes, there is one scene where we see a shooting star in the background. That was a real shooting star, and Steven Spielberg chose to keep it in. Also, like I say, this was a pre-digital age. They relied on a lot of practical stuff for this. Even the shark, Bruce, which they named Bruce, they were going to show the shark a lot more in this film, but due to malfunctioning and technical difficulties, they could only hint and suggest, give us the power of suggestion, giving us the whole less is more thing. And it paid off. It worked, and yeah, it allows us audiences to use our imagination. And that's what I also like. Of course you know it's a shark. Of course you know that it's, swimming with its fin piercing the surface. But just giving you that whole suspense just worked, even though that was never the intention. It was, a happy accident, really. Of course, I also did like the shark, Bruce. I mean, like I say, it didn't get that much screen time, but it made it count. I mean, the whole size of the fish. I mean, from a distance, it'd have been a real shark swimming, but close up, it was the animatronics. Also, the bit where Hooper goes down into the shark tank, well, the shark cage, That was actually a real dwarf stuntman in some shots. That was a stuntman, and he was a dwarf, so the shark would appear bigger, creating that illusion. And I have to say, that's very clever how they did that too. Of course, this was filmed at sea as well, in real shark-infested waters, and apparently production was a nightmare to film. But this film actually, is probably one of the best of the 70s. I mean, this did start a franchise. We got 3 sequels from this, and the second movie is good. It's okay, but after that they should have pretty much stopped it there. But Jaws, the first one is the best, and the second one's a worthy successor, but it's nowhere near as good as this first movie. They did this, in tight situations, and it paid off. And I also loved our cast in this. The characters were a lot more improved and a lot more better than they were in the book, because in the book our 3 main protagonists weren't that very likeable people. Also, the shark died differently in the book, and also, there are some unrealistic moments in there, like when they fire the air tank and the shark blows up. In real life, that wouldn't have done that. It would have just gone off and lodged further into the shark's throat, probably killing it still, but I guess they wanted to go with an epic finale there with the whole explosion, which I thought, okay, yeah, sure, why not? But yeah, it's a good movie, and, I have never grown tired of watching it. I got the 30th anniversary edition for Christmas in 2005. I've seen it in HD for its 40th anniversary back in 2015, and they're bound to do something for its 50th year, because, like I say, this is an immortal classic. And who can forget that score from John Williams? That immortal you know what I'm getting at. That theme has just become associated with sharks. That just shows how impactful it is. It is a superb film. It's got some drama in there, which I also do kind of like. It's got some good jump scares, and I'm immune to a lot of it now, but I think it is still a great film. So, with all that being said, I'm going to give Jaws, I'll give it 5 stabs out of 5, because it is just brilliant. So, now to wrap things up, and of course before we do that, let's go to our monthly shout outs. This month's shout out goes to Entertainment Fanatic Reviews. He's this guy who does a lot of great stuff, not just reviews but more things like top lists, rankings, and doesn't just review horror stuff, he reviews everything from all genres. And he's a nice guy, always makes the time to reply to your comments on his videos. Doesn't have, he has less than 1,000, which I think he needs to get over that landmark 1,000, so I hope this does it for him, so yeah, his channel will be linked down below in the description, so be sure to check him out, tell him I sent you his way, and there we are. So that's it for this month's episode of Horror Favourite of the Decade, the 1970s. So next month we'll be in the 80s, and what will be my favourite from that one? You'll have to find out. So yeah, that's it for this one. So if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, share with your friends, feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and you're new here and you want to see more from me. It's all up to you really at the end of the day. So yeah, I've been Random Ross, and this has been Horror Favourite of the Decade. So until next time, don't have nightmares.